I hear you're getting an instant film photography. You're probably going to need to rob a bank. I'm going to need a getaway driver. Got a deal?
Worthington. Worthington.
My name's David, and I'm going to help you get into instant film photography. To go through, we have to go through a couple of simple steps. The first one is we need to figure out what size film we want to shoot, what our budget is, and then we'll pick a camera, and then we'll do a project, and we'll get started. Alright, so first things first. Before you get your first Instax camera, the very first thing you have to do is figure out what size film you want to shoot. With Instax, there's Instax Mini, Instax Square, and Instax Wide. Whichever one of these you choose, they're all three good options. I personally choose the Instax Mini. Alright, let's get into mini film. When I first started looking at Instax film cameras, I was drawn to the mini film mainly because of its price. I was a little concerned about the size of it, but after a couple of shoots with it, I was okay with it. In fact, I wrote an entire article on whether or not Instax mini film is too small. I'll link to that to the description below. One of the good things about the mini film is that you can actually go to other camera bodies besides Instax. MIT has a twin lens camera, and the Leica has a few cameras available for it too. The next film that we can choose from is square film. If you're getting into Instax film photography because of its nostalgia, then the square film is definitely going to be for you. It's very similar to the crop of the Polaroid. It's a different size, but it's the same one-to-one crop with square. Very familiar, very nostalgic. If you're looking for photography because of the retro feel, the Instax Square is definitely your film of choice. I still have this box of Instax Square film. I've been trying to give this thing away for like 1 month, but I've only got like 8 people that have watched the video. Go watch the review of the Instax Square SQ20 and see if you can win this case of film. The next option we have is Instax Wide. This is the biggest advantage Instax Wide has. It is the largest one. It's an Instax Square twice, so a little bit larger than that, and it's definitely bigger than the Mini. The downfall with that is you're limited with the cameras that you can buy for it. As of this recording, the only one that I could find was Instax Wide. Alright, so the next step that we have to choose after we've decided the film is our budget. If you're getting into film photography for the first time, I would suggest you plan on spending about $125, $150. If you plan on that, you'll be able to get a decent camera with some film, maybe a couple of accessories. So if you want to shoot mini film and you have about $100 worth of a budget and you are a beginner in the instant film photography or a beginner to photography at all, the camera you're going to be looking for is the Instax Mini 9. It's very beginner friendly. The bad thing about it is it looks a little kiddie, but it'll do a good job. It'll take good photos. The good thing about it for beginners is that it has a manual control of the dial. The light sensor inside of it will tell you with an LED where to put the exposure. You do have to remember to do that yourself, otherwise you can over or underexpose the photo. But it's pretty straightforward. If you're a beginner wanting to shoot mini film and have about $100 worth of budget, the Mini 9 is the camera for you. What's this? Binoculars? Oh, that didn't work. Is this a camera? Alright, so if you have about $170 worth of a budget, you decide you want to shoot mini film, the Instax Mini 90 Classic is for you. It has a little bit more manual controls than the Mini 9. So if you're familiar with photography already, you know what an aperture is and shutter speed, you'll get more enjoyment out of this camera than the Mini 9. It features a bold mode, multi-exposure, it has manual controls of lighten and darken, 2 lightens, it has a self-timer. You'll have a lot of fun with this camera. You can have a lot more creative control with this than the Mini 9, but it is a little bit more costly. The link below has 40 photos with it, but about $170 with a little bit more creative control. This is the camera for you. Alright, so if you decide you want to shoot Instax square film and you have about $160 worth of a budget, you can get the Instax Square, the Instax SQ6. The cool thing about the SQ6 is it has some of those creative controls that are on the Mini 90, multi-exposure and bold mode, with the manual controls of the exposures as well. It gives you a little bit more creative options in the square crop, which is everybody likes. And the cool thing about the square film is that you can actually go to a digital hybrid with the SQ10 or the SQ20. On there you can have each one of those cameras will hold on to 50 photos, and from there you can print which one of those you want or delete them as you go. It's up to you. You can save film that way. I did a review on the SQ20. I ordered it. I was wanting to keep it. I just didn't like it. Plus there's a huge price cut, but I ended up shipping it back. I'll link to that review and unboxing below. If you're wanting to shoot wide, you have about $160 worth of budget. The Instax Wide 300 is a camera for you. I think there's one other camera, I can't remember the name of it, that is a third party that shoots the Instax wide film. I don't really like it. I like the idea of it with the film size. I just didn't, the camera looks clunky and a little toyish, and plus there's not the creative features as the multi-exposure and the bold mode, which, well, wanting to shoot instant film, I wanted to play around with those a little bit. So once I realized it wasn't on, those two features weren't on the Wide 300 at all, it ruled it out for me. But if you don't mind not having those features, the Wide 300 is a good camera for you. All right, my first instant film camera. Like I said, I got the Mini 90 Neo Classic. The reason why I bought it, once again, is because it had those creative controls, had the little bit cost-effective film. It was travel size as well. I've taken it to Wisconsin on a couple other family trips. I've been able to do off-camera flash with it as well and get some good portraits of my kid sister. I bought this camera because of the more creative controls it has, the double exposure and the bold mode, and then you can have manual controls as well. If I had to do it over again, I would get the SQ6, but I have no regrets getting the Mini 90, and I look forward to shooting it for a while yet still.